6, 5, 4, 3, 2, are you ready?
The CJ Howard Show. Now let's go to CJ Howard. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the CJ Howard Show. We are live from my home in Barberville, Kentucky. We are live on the Facebook, live on the YouTube. We're live on the D&D Sports Network. We are also live on my Facebook page for the CJ Howard Show. You can go check that out as well. Blake, glad to be with you. We have got a ton of stuff to talk about. Got a phenomenal co-host. I'll get to him in just a second. I want to go ahead and get our guest list out. First of all, our first guest is going to be Tracey Turner here in about 10 minutes. She's softball coach at Lescotty High School. They're off to a little bit of a rough start, but they're hanging in there, continuing to play hard. At 8:30, we're going to hear from Dwayne Willis, head basketball coach of the Perry County Central Commodores. They're off to a 6-2 start. We're going to talk to the Commodore head coach and see what's going on as they get prepared for a good stretch of some big games coming up. Then we're going to have a special thing for you. We're going to have state champion basketball coach Josh Cook with us at 9 o'clock. He's the state, of course, George Rogers Clark winning the boys high school basketball state title a couple weekends ago, beating Warren Sickert. We're going to talk to Josh about what's going on. I spoke to him and about this team, how special they are, and what he's got coming back, because he has a lot of those kids coming back. He does have five seniors. We'll talk about that. Then we're going to talk with John Lowe at 9:30. And we're going to actually, we've got a list full of awards. If you remember last week, we had Harold Bashir on the show. Harold talked about the We Elite ceremony. It was today, 3 p.m. at the church there in Haseburg. They had a phenomenal show. I watched a little bit of it. Didn't get to watch dogs. Has been busy doing some other things. He sent me all of their award winners, and we're going to go over them in this show. Sometime in this show, we'll go over all of this information. But with me, the main man. If you have got a problem and he can't, and anybody else can't solve it, he's got a business card waiting for you. One of the top attorneys now in Kentucky. I will send him business anytime I can find it for him. With us, WYMT Sports caster and attorney, Mr. Tanner Haseburg. Tanner, it's great to have you on the show.
Well, it's great to be back. Always an honor to spend a couple of hours Sunday evening with you, CJ. And once again, your introduction was far too kind and overly flattering of my ego. I always say when you get done introducing me, my head will never fit out of whatever door I next walk through. But thank you very much. Thank you for inviting me back. It's good to spend some time with you and the good people of Eastern Kentucky and whoever else is watching out in cyberspace, and look forward to spending some time with you and your guests over the next couple of hours.
You have been a really busy man. I know you've been dealing with a lot of your court cases and stuff. You've been in court, out of court, been doing a lot of side stuff. Being an attorney is not just wake up, show up, and go back home. It's a 24-hour job.
Well, I don't know if you can tell on the web stream, but I've got a few more gray hairs than I did before I became an attorney. Now, I got a few from broadcasting, but I got a lot more from law school, and now, 6 or 7 months as a full-time practicing attorney since I passed the bar exam. But it's a very stressful job, but it's also a very rewarding job. You get to directly help a lot of people. And I don't say that to put myself on a pedestal. The good Lord has blessed me and put me in a position to be able to have a job where I can help people and make a good living and be here in Eastern Kentucky and close to my family and friends. So, and still get to do broadcasting and do stuff like this on the side. So I'm certainly blessed. But this is fun, getting to do stuff like this, host this show with you, do play-by-play of a football or basketball game. Those are kind of my hobbies now, and I do them, and I have a blast doing them. And there's nothing I'd rather be doing, I don't think, than talking high school and college sports here on the CJ Howard Show.
No, that is, we'll get plenty of that as the show goes along. I noticed you work for a really great law firm. probably one of the better law firms in, I don't want to say this from Pike County, correct? In that area, and well known for his work in and out of the courtroom. Also, his work with animals. I saw a commercial where he does a lot with the Humane Society. So tell us a little bit about that too.
Yeah, sure. So we're based in Prestonsburg. I work for Ned Pillersdorf. He's my boss. It's me and him. We're the only two attorneys in our law firm. Pillersdorf Law Offices. We're based in Prestonsburg. We do serve Pike County. We serve all the counties of Eastern Kentucky. And he's certainly a humanitarian. He's probably watching right now, so I need to definitely say kind things about him because he's a fan of yours, CJ.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
And yeah, he is very involved. Our office is very involved with the Floyd County Animal Shelter. You've probably seen the Shelter Celebrity of the Week on WYMT. We do that, and we donate to the shelter. And they were overcrowded several months ago, but through some fundraising efforts and some publicity, they have now, I think, gotten a handle on their overcrowding problem. But if anyone would be interested in adopting a dog or a cat, they have plenty available there at the Floyd County Animal Shelter. In fact, the last time I was on WYMT was a couple of months ago for the live pet segment on Wednesday morning with Dakota and Brandon, and had a dog named Rex, who I think is still there for adoption if anyone would like to pick him up. Great dog, young, can shake, already housebroken. But we do a lot for the animals of Eastern Kentucky. And, we're a general practice law firm. We like to think we can help you no matter what when you walk in the door. We mostly do criminal defense, but we also do personal injury law and dabble in areas. So I appreciate you letting me get that plug on. Ned will be thrilled.
Oh yeah, that was one of my main goals when I was going to bring you on the show. I was wanting you to talk about your law firm because I've seen their commercials. It seems like he's a really nice gentleman, and I'm a big time pet person, so that went to my heart when I saw him. He was big in the humane animal thing, so that's why I wanted you to talk about that a little bit, because that just tears at my heart. We got a house cat, and I know you got a house dog, so animals are just a great thing.
Yeah, I've got Muggsy the legal beagle. He's sitting down here next. He might be asleep. He's not as interested in your show as I am, but he's the one who's in our commercials right now. If anyone's seen our commercials, he's sitting in the chair next to me. He's not happy to be there wearing his tie that's about 2 sizes too small for him, but he's Muggsy the legal beagle, and we've been using him for publicity for a few months.
Yeah, I saw the commercial. It was a really good one, and I liked it very much. I enjoyed it very much too. With us now is the head softball coach of Lexington County Lady Eagles, Tracey Turner. Tracey, it's good to see you.
Hey, good to see you, CJ.
It's an honor to have you back on the show. A lot going on with your team. I'm going to get your schedule up here so I can look at it a little bit. I've been so busy with the baseball team, I didn't mean to ignore the softball team. I need to get out there and watch them because off to a little bit of a slow start, Coach, but you guys have picked it up lately. You're starting to play a little bit better. Talk about your team a little bit.
Well, we, with scheduling last year when I scheduled this, we have a tough schedule this year. So when I scheduled, I was expecting, pretty much the entire team back. We lost 4 seniors, which we had Emily Boland as the second-year senior. So, having that in mind when I made this schedule, is a very tough schedule that we made. Now our team is down to 2 original starters from last year's team. We've had some unfortunate things happen. We've had some injuries. We have had 2 of our other starters, had to go out on homebound because of family issues with health and things like that. So we have had a rough start, but and everybody's learning to play new positions, which that kind of takes a while for everybody to get into the groove of things and kind of learn how that works. And basically a whole new team starting over playing together pretty much. And that kind of takes a little bit too, I think.
Yeah, I've noticed that you got 3 starters back from last year's team, but you would have had 7 back
Yes.
If everybody had been back.
Right, correct. We had,
I feel like you've been one thing. I feel like you've had the worst luck between COVID and you had a young team with, and
Absolutely.
anything else. If it went wrong in your direction, and hopefully that can be turned around.
I felt like it has, but I also feel like that, with the girls, they faced all these adversities too, and most of them have been very resilient. It's been tough. I mean, it's been tough to come out from a winning season last season, and we've won 1 game this season. So, that's a big adjustment. That's a lot of adversity for a team to have to face. But I feel like that, the last game we played was against Harlan Independent. We lost by 2 points, which they're a young team also. We're pretty evenly matched with them. But I felt like that I was kind of seeing a different team at that point. So I'm hoping, we'll get a few wins under our belt, and then we'll start jiving a little bit together, and things will even out.
You've already district plays were so important. You've already played Hazard.
Right.
They're pretty good. We ain't gonna lie. Prairie Central's probably the best team. Prairie Central's probably the best team in the region besides Estill. Unfortunately, they did drop. Tell me about Jackson City. I'm hearing a lot of good things about them. I hear they're really good. They beat Prairie in the opening game. I don't think they've lost like 1 game all year. I hear they're loaded.
And this is the thing about Jackson City. I feel like, I know their coach well. I know Tony well, one of their coaches. I feel like sometimes that Jackson City is kind of the team that kind of gets overlooked a little bit. They are chock full of talent. They have great coaches. And my advice to anybody that plays Jackson City would be not to underestimate them, because they're possibly, they could possibly come out right on top when region comes around. And I don't doubt that one bit, and Prairie Central is a top dog, and they've been tough for years. And I don't think anybody would come out underestimating them at all. But now Jackson City, maybe. And I don't think, if you play Jackson City, you probably don't need to underestimate them, because they can do what, needs to be done. They've got some great coaches. I don't know a lot of their players right now. But obviously they're working hard, because yes, they did beat Prairie Central. I think they beat them by 2.
Yeah, I saw that score. Prairie Central's won like 7 in a row. They lost since they lost to Jackson City, and right. I think Bobby used that as a well, you ain't that convincing after all. You got to come to play every day, and then I've been noticing they've been winning 10-0, 15-0, like that.
Right.
Tracey, I've noticed this region. It seems like what I've seen so far, and I've looked at it from top to bottom, Estill, Prairie, and Hazard are here. That everybody else, Jackson City's up there with them 3. Right. It seems like everybody else is in the bottom. Now, another team that nobody talks much about is the Lady Patriots of Knott County.
Yeah.
They can swing the bats. They really hit the ball. I think the problem they've been having, their pitching has not been as strong as they thought it was going to be. And they're another team I think can be in that upper echelon. We'll talk about the Lady Patriots a little bit, because I know they're known for basketball, but softball's been their game through the past couple of 2-3 seasons.
It has, and their program has, when my oldest daughter was playing, Knott Central was kind of building back softball, during those years. And I think the past few years, they've really come around. I know one of their coaches too, Rick Moberly. He's a great guy. Cameron played some travel ball with him some. that's another team not to underestimate. I mean, I know their pitching may be down a little bit because they've had the past couple of years, they've had some awesome pitchers. Not Central has. And, as a team, in smaller schools, you have these girls, the athletes, they have to play, most of them play 2 or 3 sports at once.
Yeah.
Basketball's going on, when early conditioning, early softball starts, and they don't get to come out. And that seems to be a problem that we've faced in Leslie County, with pitching somewhat, but now, it's kind of changing for us a little bit too. In the next couple of years, I think it will. But, you have to consider these girls, they're doing 2 or 3 sports in a year. Most of them are doing track the same time they're doing softball. I mean, the athletes, they're doing everything, and a position in pitching is a position that you have to work on year round to be successful. And that's a problem that seems like we all face in these smaller schools. But, we got kids that work hard. They're great students along with being athletes. So, sometimes it's, I don't see how they do it. I really don't. And I commend them for it. But now pitching is something that you honestly have to do year round to be successful at it.
Yes, we've the when Dana's last year, the key to that year they won the region was their pitching. Loaded with good pitching that year and hitting, and nobody will never forget the Letcher Central coming from 9 down in the 7th inning to win, and then of course the next day coming back and finishing the deal, winning the region. That's where you want to get this team to, Tracey. How confident are you? How confident are you right now that you can get them to that point eventually?
Yes, I'm very confident in that. We have one senior this year. Very young team. Loaded with raw talent, lots of potential. It's just time kind of gets us with some of them playing other sports. We've got a bunch of 8th graders coming up next year that will contribute greatly to the team. I mean, we have a bunch of athletes. We've just got to kind of get it together and figure out what we need to do, which will take us a few more games, I think. But I really honestly think that we're going to start winning games. We're going to pull some wins out, maybe surprise a few teams. We have that potential. We really do.
Yes, you do. Well, Tanner, you got anything you want to say to Coach Turner?
I don't think so. I mean, the lay of the land with 14th Region softball in Leslie County better than I do. But Tracey, I think I'll just say, it seems like the sport of softball in Kentucky, generally it has grown over the last several years, and it's still a relatively new sport compared to, like basketball and football. And I mean, have you seen it grow in Eastern Kentucky like it's grown across the state? Do you see more and more girls wanting to come out and participate in it?
I do. I think when I started coaching Little League when my oldest daughter was playing Little League. When she was 8 years old is when I started coaching. I started coaching Little League. I think we had 3 Little League teams maybe. And during that, it was probably a couple years. She played a couple years before she started playing any travel ball at all. And I think when that started, when kids started getting more interested in playing travel ball in the summer, because, Little League ends, they have all-stars, and then usually that's it in the summer. But I have seen it grow tremendously since then. Like, for example, some of these kids on my team are getting pitching lessons from UPike's JV coach. They're going to camp. More and more softball camps are offered for these kids. We've had several come to our field to do softball camps. We had one lady come from Campbellsville University. She was a pitcher there. She did a camp a couple summers ago. I mean, it's just the interest is growing. And I look forward to what happens after this. I mean, it's growing, and these kids are really coming out and enjoying the sport. And like I said, they have to play 2 or 3 sports, and it's kind of hard to focus just on one. But these kids do a great job at it. They work so hard.
That's good. I'm glad to hear that, and I don't really have any other questions. Glad to hear the program is doing well and the sport is growing. And CJ, you'll have to get out there and either do some PA or do radio for a Leslie County softball game sometime.
Well, I help the baseball team, so she knows our schedule. We're busy. Usually when they're playing, we're playing. Usually we don't get many days between when we're not playing. But hopefully, I will say this much. I think Leslie County's got the right people coaching softball. Tracey and her husband Ronnie and the other gentleman, and I forget his name, and I've met him 2 or 3 times, and I apologize for that. But you three seem to really be cohesive, know what's going on, and I think you're going to turn them in the right direction. It's just hard when you ain't got a lot of experience, because experience pays off in the long run.
It really does. And after this season, they get this experience of playing these games under their belt and see what we're facing. It'll be, probably by the end of this season, you'll see a big change.
If you would like to check out the Leslie County softball team, let me tell you a few games they got coming up. They're going to be at home tomorrow night. They play Jackson County. They will also be playing, got that Perry Central team on Tuesday. You play them there at Perry Central.
Sorry, CJ. We actually rescheduled the Tuesday game with Perry Central. We had a couple of girls that was going to be out.
Okay.
So we did reschedule Tuesday's game. So we have, we don't have a game Tuesday.
Okay. Well, you've got Buckhorn on Wednesday. Friday, you have Knott County, that team we talked about. And then you're playing an interesting game here on Saturday. Limited Ohio coming down to play in softball. I'm guessing that ain't a very far trip for them ladies to come down and play you, and I guess you might return the favorite next year. Talk a little bit about that one, and I'll let you go.
Well, let me tell you that one came about. And I've spoke about my oldest daughter a couple of times, but when she was a freshman, their coach was, he was a Teach America teacher here in Leslie County. His name was Ryan Nolan. And he is originally from Ohio, and that's where he teaches, is Lebanon. And got a text from him before I finished the schedule out for this season. And he said, hey, listen, we would love to bring our girls there. Just kind of let them experience the mountains. They've not got to experience that. We'd just like to, just show them around and let them get to experience it, because he enjoyed himself so much here during that year and a half. So that's how that game actually came about. So we're going to get to see Coach Nolan on Saturday and play against his team, and we're really looking forward to that.
Is there a chance that next season you would return the favor to them?
Could be. Could possibly be. I think that would be a great trip for us. Yes.
I always talk about one thing. You've heard me say this a million times. I always say any sports team needs to have a bonding trip, a trip where you can go spend a night or two with your girls. You guys have a great time. Go out, do some scenery work, but let the girls bond together as a group. And I think that's the best thing for any sport: football, baseball, basketball. I don't care what team sport you're playing. I've always said you should have at least one overnight trip on your schedule for bonding. I'm a firm believer of that.
I agree with that. And especially with girls, sometimes it takes a little bit for them to kind of bond. And I think that's a great idea. I mean, just get them out and maybe not even have softball on the agenda at all. Usually, and that's usually what we do too at the end of the season. For past couple years, our girls have choose not to have a banquet, no trophies, no gifts. Let's just take a trip together. And we've done that the past couple of years, and they really enjoy that.
Yeah. Well, I can see things starting to turn around for you, Coach, and I want to wish you the best of luck the rest of the season. I will get out and see you play. I promise. I know I'm welcome anytime at the softball field. They probably if I come there, they'll stick a microphone in my hand. They'll try to. Oh, by the way, I was going to ask you one other question. Have they determined the district and region for softball yet? Okay, she is frozen up on me, but I was going to ask her, Tanner, had they heard about the softball? Okay, she's trying to come back to me now.
Sorry, our internet's terrible. To be honest with you, I've not heard about that yet. I know that they were going to offer the district back to Hazard. I'm pretty sure they're not going to pass on that. So I figure that the district will be at Hazard. Not heard anything else though.
Yeah, I do know that they it's the different from basketball. They made that the policy board, but I think softball, baseball, they were going to allow them to make decisions on their own if whatever basically they would come up with. Coach, thank you so much for being on the show. Good luck to you and your girls. I will get out there and check you guys out, and good luck to you tomorrow. Again, they play tomorrow night at home, 6 o'clock. They will play the Jackson County Lady Generals. Check them out if you can. If you want to see their schedule, go to the KHSAA website. Just look up the Leicester County Lady Eagle softball team. Their schedule's right there, and you'll be able to find out when they're playing. Tracey, thank you so much for being on the show, and we will see you very soon.
Thank you, CJ.
Appreciate it. Tracey Carter, head softball coach of the Leicester County Lady Eagles. Going to go ahead. I'm going to go get Prairie Central. Get this ready for the Prairie Central. We'll have Twain here in a little bit. First, let's do a little. We're going to shift a little bit here, Tanner. I'm going to go over some awards that were given out tonight at the We Elite program. This was the program took place at the Toledo. I know I said that wrong. The Catholic Church there in Hazard. I think they gave out over 30 some awards tonight for the 14th region people, and here are some of the winners. Now there'll be different parts. We'll give you some winners now. We'll give you some more later. The Sportsmanship Award. This went to Brianna Caldwell. She's from Wolfe County. The Breakout Players of the Year for the boys was Hayden Neese of Buckhorn. Girls was Lexi Mullins of Perry Central. The Sniper Award, I guess that would be the 3-point award. It was given to Carly Smith from Owsley County. 6-man award went to Andrew Combs from Breathitt County. The Rising Stars Award went to Ridge Beverly from Perry Central and Addison Terry from Owsley County. The top rebounder in boy and girl, the top boy rebounder was Scott Shepard from Knott County, and Riley Likens was the girl from June Buchanan. The Greg Wells Community Service Award went to Commodore Nation for the crowd they brought to Rupp Arena to support their Commodores when they played George Rogers Clark, but not just for that one particular tournament, but for the whole body of work they did during the region and everything else. The 14th Region Legends Award this year. This is a new award. I know this has been added as a new award. First two recipients was Bill Fannin, the former Hazard Lady Bulldogs coach, and former Perry County Central and MC Napier head basketball coach Randy Napier. The Clutch Performer of the Year was Kay Benton of Estill County. He hit that game-winning 3 against Wolfe County to win the game that went to double overtime in the 14th Region Tournament. Coach of the Year, and I agree on these two so much. I would have picked these two. There's no question about it. The Brian Hall, head coach of Estill County, and Andrew Blank of Buckhorn. I'm going to give you 3 more that will let Tanner give his thoughts about the first set of awards we've heard of. Coach of the Year, of course, Brian Hall and Andrew Blank from Buckhorn. The Built Tough Award went to Jalen Witt. She played at Letcher Central. The performer of the year was Tori Holcomb, from Letcher Central. She hit 8 3-pointers in the regional championship game to beat Owsley County on a last-second shot. And the top scorers in the region, boy and girl, Xavier Terry from Owsley County and Courtney Hoskins from Leslie County. Okay, so we'll stop there, but we'll go over the first set of awards I talked about there, Tanner. What's your thoughts?
Well, I think it's pretty cool that they started a Legends Award, and if you're going to give away a Legends Award, on the first year you do it, I mean, those are two pretty good individuals to give away to, Bill Fannin and Randy Napier, especially. Randy was still the girls' coach at Perry Central when I was living in Hazard, so I got to cover some of his teams and talk to him, and a good coach and a good storyteller. And I believe he's got to still be the all-time wins leader in boys or girls basketball. Right? I mean, it's a pretty big gap between him and I don't think he's going to get caught for a while, if he ever gets caught, I guess is what I'm trying to say, on the all-time wins list. So
I have to look that up. He was way ahead, but I agree on that. I don't think nobody's even close to him. But I'll have to look that up. That'd be interesting. I mean, I need to look them up, the top 5 coaches with all-time wins. I need to do that. I'll do that. But
and I'm pretty sure that statistic spans boys and girls basketball. CJ, Randy, I believe, is the all-time wins leader in either boys or girls basketball. So it's definitely cool to see that, and congrats to all those other athletes you mentioned as well.
Yeah, we always talk about how Les Dixon does a great job in the 13th giving out awards over there. The 14th, We Elite does that. I think D&D Sports tries to do some awards things over the 15th. So one good thing about it, all of our coverage teams are covered in some way, form, or fashion. And these kids are finally getting recognized for the work they've done, and they deserve to get these awards because they work so hard. They need to be recognized, our coaches and our players.
Anything that's going to bring them more exposure and more recognition, I think, is a good thing.
Now with us is another good man, Mr. Twain Willis, the head baseball coach at Perry County Central. He's been a busy man. They've been playing a lot of games here lately. Let me get their schedule up here. I had softball. I don't think we need softball. We need to move on to something else. Coach, how you doing?
Good. How you doing, CJ?
Doing well. First of all, I want to thank you so much for filling in at the last moment. Originally, this was supposed to have been Carla. Carla Booth was going to join me, but she had to go out of town. And so I got up with Twain, and I really appreciate you doing this.
Oh, you're welcome. I would miss it. I appreciate the opportunity.
Yeah, anytime we get to talk about your team, Coach, you are off to a 4-2 start. I'll be real honest. I'm gonna put it on you early. I think you got the best team in the 14th region. I've seen about all the baseball teams play so far. I think you got the deepest pitching staff of anybody. And you're hitting the ball pretty good. Talk about your team. And you have played a very tough schedule early. I mean, of 6 games, you played probably one team that's not ranked, but you played Corbin, Johnson Central, North Laurel, Hazard. You played Powell. Then you played George Rogers Clark the other day. I mean, you're playing them up and you're knocking them down.
Yeah, we like to go into the season and see what we're made of right from the beginning. My guys worked hard in the off season, and like you said, we came out of the gate swinging the bats really well. I talk to them every day, and even the off season, about going out there and competing. We had to find ways to win, close games, never lose. Refusing to lose mentality, and we've done a great job. We've won a close ball game against Johnson Central, and also won 1-1 against GRC. So it's been a battle these first couple games, and we just enjoying and having a good time out there.
The one thing too, I think was amazing. You can tell me if I'm wrong. Your baseball team's basically. You have got very few kids that play football or basketball on your team. Your whole team is basically nothing but baseball players. And that's unusual for a program because usually you're going to sprinkle in 4 or 5 basketball, football players here and there. But I think you may have a couple, but the majority of your team are just strictly baseball. Talk about that because that is impressive to have, knowing, a lot of teams has the other side of it though.
Yeah, I think we have. If we go back and count them, I think we have 27 players, and I think about 10 of them play football. We got a bunch of freshmen that plays as well. But on the basketball team, we only had one that played basketball. So getting those kids out and having them buy into our off-season program after football has been great. And I think, they see the results and people that's, watch us play and stuff like that. They see the results of the off-season workouts, coming forward and being big for us starting off the season. And like you said, our pitching staff is doing well so far. I've let my guys go and throw the ball. They've done a great job, taking care of the arm in the off season. So, I think and I'm not going to say mid-season form when it comes to pitching, but I think they know what to do as far as when they throw and then how to recover. I think that's the big thing in baseball. You have to be able to recover after you throw so many pitches. So, we have a good system going on right now, and we just plan to keep it going.
Oh, you guys are playing some of the best baseball in this region. As I said, I've got the chance to see highlights or hear highlights about every team in this region. I've been helping with Leslie County. In fact, this week we've got a monster schedule. We got Hazard tomorrow. We've got Buckhorn Tuesday. We got Breathitt County Thursday and Knott County Friday. So that's going to tell us where we're standing as far in the middle of the pack. But you have been playing these teams that, like, early on, your first 5-6 games, you played some really good teams. Now you're going to be playing, I think, some teams. You got teams where you can maybe get an opportunity. If you get a little bit of a lead, you might be able to sprinkle in a young player that you're really looking at that could use that varsity experience for the years to come.
Yes, that's the plan. You want to go out there and still give the guys that's earned it every opportunity that they can get early, and then the ones that, like I said, is on the fence, on the border, give them a chance as well in the varsity game so they can get that experience. One thing we've done, especially so far this year, I've chose to, our coaching staff and all, we chose to have a JV game for our kids by themselves during a week. I think, with us having 27 players, that's a day for them to feel special for themselves. I got my varsity guys right there cheering them on, and, we're working the game and watching them as well. And so they also get a good feel of what it takes to be out there and play and compete every pitch as well.
One thing, too, that you do a lot of, and more people are starting to catch on the last couple of years, you're playing a lot of doubleheaders on Saturday, bringing in teams that you originally wouldn't see or probably couldn't schedule during the week. You get them to come in on a Saturday, and that helps you fundraising-wise, plus it also helps your baseball team because it gives you more games. Talk about playing on Saturday, because I know a lot of teams are doing more of that.
Yeah. Like you said, the fundraising is really big. Our ballpark is kind of wide open, so it's tough to, have a gate right there. So we do a good job in our concession stand, trying to have it, where people want to eat, and that's a big fundraising tool for us there. But like you said, playing those double headers on Saturdays, I feel like we're gonna be at the park basically all day anyway. Get as much out of it as we can, and I also want to give it experience to my guys and let them get a feel of how it would be if they play in the college atmosphere. Because, on the weekends, you got double headers every weekend when you play. You got the Friday night game, and you got the double header on the weekend. So they get a chance to see if that's something they really want to do after high school. So I try to give them that experience, that feel of what it may be in college as well.
Hey, you've done a brilliant job. Some of the scores early on this season that Curry's had, they played Corbin. They lost 11-7. But the game they were in till late in the game, Corbin got a couple of runs off of a couple of late hits. Then got a big 4-3 win over Charleston Central. Then you North Laurel, you played them at home on a Saturday, I believe. That was one of the double headers you've had already. North's pretty good. They won 17-7. Then you played Hazard last Monday or Monday or Tuesday. A game that was really close to going into sixth inning, I think, Coach. And in this game, you busted it wide, slap dab open, winning it 22-8. And then, of course, you beat Powell 12-1. And then yesterday, you got a 6-5 victory over George Rogers Clark. Talk about Hazard a little bit, because I know Coach Meehan is got a little bit different team than he's had in the past. He don't have a lot of experience, but he does have a lot of good athletes.
Yes. Yes, that's exactly right. You talk about our schedule so far. The 2 games we've lost so far has been from the 13th. 13th is a tough region. They swing the bat really well. And every time we go out there, we know it's going to be a battle. Those other games, like the Johnson Central, we won. Close to the end as well. We had to find a way to win those close games. I think you learn and you get the experience early. That way you can we also got to see what we've been practicing all off season, trying to win those close games. Like I said, the Hazard game, like I said, it was a close game, 5-5, going after the bottom of the 5th, and top of the 6th, we get our chance again. We make the pitcher work, and then we just exploded. I think we end up scoring 17 runs that inning. It's just one of those things that everything it could have went as a game right there. It could have went either way.
Yeah.
And in the past, we may have folded at that point because we had a late error right there that tied the game. And one thing we didn't do, we never quit. We picked ourselves up and we played the next pitch. We got the out and then got out of it, and then we were able to attack on offense, which is what we've talked about. And like you said, you never can count Hazard out. Hazard is the team that every team's I'm not gonna say gunning for, but that's the team that you have to be able to compete with at the end of the season. Like you said, they have a bunch of young guys, but those guys will compete. I was really impressed with a lot of the young guys. They swung the bat really well. And like you said, the older guys, they will gel, and they're going to be a tough out, just like every other team in the region. We just got to keep playing great baseball and just go after it.
They played North yesterday and lost 8-6 to Hazard did. So they are improving. They're getting better. Coach, we talked about this last year when you returned. You coached a couple years at Breathitt. You got a chance to come back to your home water and coach it. Getting through COVID and everything, the past 3 seasons, are you happy where you're at now, or are there a few more things that you would love to see that you can make this team different in?
I think every time you go out on the baseball field, there's room for improvement. So never satisfied. You just try to keep better. We talk about having goals all the time. Once one goal is being completed, whatever, you got to find another. One thing my guys have been, like you said, this is my 3rd season. That first season was the COVID year, so nobody got to play then. And I go back and look on last year's team and schedule. I didn't realize how much inexperienced we were. So that was with them not playing that year of COVID, and then last year, those guys were still we were still learning how to play. I think we kind of like I said, off season, we got a lot of confidence in ourselves, and we bring it to the field, and that's one thing. The guys are doing it themselves. We holding each other accountable. And, we just going out there and having fun and trying to do our best we can to get the job done. And we talk about it all the time, you never really lose the game. You always you just run out of innings. So if you always, if you go out there every day and you compete every day, at some point, it's hard to be the team that doesn't quit. And that's one thing we've been doing, and, just putting pressure on people.
Yeah. Tanner, you got anything you want to ask Coach Willis?
Yeah, Coach, I know you're a baseball guy, so I'll go a little off the wall here. What do you think about the National League, Major League Baseball adopting the designated hitter?
I'm a fan of it. I think it's one thing. Whatever we do, it should be across the board. I know pitchers like to hit and everything like that, but they're not getting paid to hit. They're getting paid to pitch. So. It gives another guy a chance to, showcase what he has, his abilities, and, it's an advantage. If we have it, just make it the same for all.
In the case of the Cincinnati Reds, I'm not sure some of their hitters are being paid to hit either. But.
well, I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I'm not a Reds fan. I'm a Yankees fan, so I can't.
Rooting for the big market teams.
Hey, I grew up at the time when that's the big time. I was a Cub fan and Braves fan as well, mid-90s. But then, as you get older, you find your niche. And I've always been a Derek Jeter fan, so it just stuck with me.
I agree with you on Jeter. He was a great player and great guy off the field too, it seems like. So I agree with you on that one.
Yeah. He showed you how to respect the game. He done everything the right way. And if we can get people to play the game the way he did, we'll be fine.
I've heard that some teams are even going to they're going to trick a few people. They're going to put their pitcher, if they ain't pitching for 2 or 3 days, they're going to put them in the outfield and let them play right field so they can hit. And I said, well, that's creative. You're trying to find a way because some of these pitchers are pretty good hitting pitchers, and if you can find a way to get them in the lineup, I think it's a good idea.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I think once every level, even when you go to college, players start to become specialized players, but they grew up being two-way guys and things like that. It just depends on your location, schools you go to, and what, they try to get the best out of you. But, like you said, these guys can still hit. When I was playing some pro ball in the minor leagues, I got to see, at that time, it's Carlos Zambrano, big time hitter. Those guys can swing it. And I'm like, man, that's crazy. But, yeah, you absolutely correct. Those pitchers can hit. If they can, if they practice on that every day, they would also be in the lineup. So, and they can play multiple positions as well. So, let them do that thing. I know a bunch of people, especially when I was in pro ball, people think that the pitchers are the best athletes on the field. I have to disagree with that though. But but they can still play.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I've heard one coach say, well, if you won't let him bat, and when he pitches, I'll put him in the DH spot and let him bat. So I'll still get him in the lineup. So
yeah, I mean that'd be a best way to do it. I mean, they get creative. Not like the things that goes on. So they'll do what's best for their team.
Well, you said you was a Yankees fan. I know you can't be too thrilled with some of the decisions they've been making lately. They've been shifting. They've been like the Reds. I think the Reds and Yankees have decided. Well, I think the Yankees are still trying to win, but I think they're trying to do it with less payroll. Because I've seen them ship a couple of good players out of there and bring back a couple that are okay. I don't know what the Reds are doing.
Yeah.
I looked at their lineup today. I only realized I only knew one person in their lineup, and that was Joey Votto. I didn't know the other 8.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. Like when it goes to the Yankees, and I know people say they shouldn't have got rid of Sanchez. Me and my assistant coach talk about it all the time. Like, I didn't like Sanchez. He was a liability when it came to catching. He was sometime hitting. I like this consistent player. So if he was able to do more things more consistently, then I would be okay with it. But as far as them getting rid of the third baseman stuff, I was like, I don't know about that. But I kind of like who they brought in. I like Josh Donaldson. Another big stick, and then we re-signed Rizzo. So I like where we are. I think we need to get rid of Brett Gardner though. I've never been a fan of him, but
I think it's going to be hard to beat the Dodgers though. I mean, the Dodgers. I don't think I've ever seen a team that loaded with so many great, not just position players, but pitching. I mean, they're whoever gets in the World Series with the Dodgers is it's going to be amazing because I'm glad baseball's back though. This strike was so stupid. Yeah. They were disagreeing over some of the dumbest stuff I've ever seen in my life, but I'm just glad they got it all figured out. Are back. April 7th is opening day.
Yes.
I think.
Yeah.
I know the Reds open up right on the road. They go to Atlanta for a 4-game series with the world champs. So that's gonna be crazy.
Yes, it will. I'm like you. I'm excited to see baseball back. I don't really enjoy watching it on television though as much. I catch the last couple innings, but as far as sitting there all day, I do that enough on the field. But I like to see everything that's going on. I guess it's more of the view. I don't like to just see the pitcher and catcher. So.
Well, let me give you some games that you can catch pretty central if you want to get out and watch them. They're going to be playing not tomorrow. They'll be back on the field Tuesday when they go to Montgomery County. Wednesday they'll be at Knott County. Friday they'll be at Whitley County because actually your next 4 games are all on the road. Then you return home Saturday for your doubleheader with Harlan County and Letcher Central will be coming to town. The Harlan County games at 12:30, the Letcher Central games at 2 p.m. They're at Commodore's baseball field right beside the high school. The other 3 games, as I said, they're on the road. I'll be at Whitley, at Knott, and at McGoffin. Coach, again, I want to thank you so much for helping me to fill in this 8:30 slot for my guest. I love having you on here. When I get you on here, we can always talk some really good baseball, and I could talk with you all night about baseball. But we, got some other things I need to attend to. I'm so glad you got to be on the show. I know you'll come back when I need you. And good luck to you and the Commodores. I won't get to see you probably until April 19th, because I think we come to your place on the 19th.
Okay.
No, you come to us on the 19th.
Okay.
So hopefully I can see you before then, though. But if not, good luck to you and the Commodores, and continue the good work you're doing.
Yeah. Thank you, CJ, and thank you for having me.
No problem.
Thank you, Tanner, as well.
Yes, sir. See you later.
All right. See you guys.
Thanks, Dwayne. All right. Dwayne Willis, head baseball coach at Perry County Central. He's doing a phenomenal job, Tanner. And I'll tell you what, I think he's got the best team in the region. Them and Breathitt are the 2 best teams right now, is what I saw.
Well, that's 2 more teams than I've seen in 14th Region baseball. So I'll defer to your opinion on such things, but it's fun to be talking baseball. And I thought you brought up a good point and a good question, CJ, that, we're kind of in that transitional phase where basketball season has been winding down and is over now. And a lot of these athletes are still in basketball mode, and it's a completely different conditioning. Going from football to basketball, and then basketball to baseball. And then, you got other sports in there as well. And, in the case of girls sports, you have volleyball in there, and then basketball and
track
and
now
softball, track, field. Yeah. I mean,
softball.
And so that's a good point. It takes a lot of these baseball programs 2 or 3 weeks or longer to get acclimated and conditioned and get into full blown baseball mode. So I think that the versions of the baseball teams we're seeing right now will be different, maybe sometimes drastically so, than the versions of the teams we'll see come district region tournament time.
And one thing, that Dwayne's got, he mentioned it, he's only got 1 or 2 basketball players, but the rest are all baseball and football. I mean, that has to be a big-time advantage for them, because those kids, once football ends, they can focus on baseball the whole time. And, Prairie Central's football program is starting to head towards a good area, because Mark Dixon, getting ready to do his 4th year as the head coach there at Prairie Central, they've gotten better every year. And, this seems like Prairie Central's got really good coaches all the way around the board in all their programs, so they do so well. We just saw Shannon go to the state tournament, take Perry Central. But these programs, if you've got young players, you're at a disadvantage, because it's going to take you a while to get going. But if you got experience, then you got a chance to be a player in the game.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like. And, that is definitely a luxury that a coach has, is that his players aren't necessarily obligated to these other sports, so they can hit the ground running in February or whenever you want to start some preseason drills. So it will be interesting to see if come end of the year, like we said, tournament time, if those teams that were less dependent on athletes from other sports will have a leg up over those teams who maybe got a late jump because their athletes were still coming off other sports. But you know what? There's so many good athletes nowadays, and the quality and brand of student athlete, even on the high school level, is just so much better now. And that's no insult to high school basketball, players from back in the day, but I just think there's more good athletes nowadays. Certainly even than when I was in high school. And a lot of that is just the more access to training and better coaching and, the science and technology of it. And so I guess I say all that, that's a broad way to say that come into the year, I think the effect is minimal, whether you had guys who took a couple extra weeks getting into baseball, the baseball mindset, at adjusting from those other sports.
Yeah, no question about it. But I have seen lately too that a lot of basketball kids don't play baseball as much as they used to. Some do. Some depend a lot on their basketball kids. Well, like we said, we'll wait and see how that rounds itself out there at the end of the season. Let's go over some more awards from the We Elite program tonight. They had the True Grit Award went to Dylan Brock for the boys from Perry Central and Kaylee Gayhart from Knott County Central. Defensive Players of the Year was Will Isfor from Estill County and Lauren Boggs from Letcher Central. The moment of the year was when the Perry County Central girls came from 16-15 down to beat Wolfe County in the opening game of the girls' 14th region tournament. This is an award that goes to my heart because we lost him too soon. This is a new award they just added. The Bobby Bolin. Actually, he gets 2 awards named after him. The first one is the Bobby Bowling Build Difference Award, and this went to referee and our good friend Christy Combs. And then Bobby Bolin's got a scholarship, and this went to Andrew Ford of Hazard. The Player's Choice Player of the Year was Naj Welch from Korea and Lexi Lynch from Owsley County. And I'll stop there because the next set of awards are team awards, like third team, second team, first team. Let's talk about the latest awards I gave you there. And as I said, we lost our good friend and confidant, Mr. Bobby Bowling, back during the basketball season towards the end of it. And Tanner, I know you knew Bobby. Everybody knew Bobby. He was an unbelievable man, and we lost him too soon.
Yeah, and that kind of gets to one of the good things about Eastern Kentucky is that one thing I think we do well is I think we do well remembering people like that when we lose someone like that, and people are good at coming together and not only offering prayer and support for the family and friends when someone like Bobby is lost, but then subsequently taking steps to honor them and make sure that generations to come have heard of him and are familiar with his legacy and his accomplishments. Because it's one thing to do something to remember him right now for the people that actually knew him, but what are you going to do to honor someone years down the line and get people who wouldn't have otherwise known them exposed to what they accomplished? So it's encouraging that they would create an award like that and a scholarship. Now someone can go to college and support themselves financially, get an education, and they'll be able to trace it back to him. And so I certainly hope that the family is honored by that, and I hope that is it We Elite, the group that put on these awards. I hope they'll keep doing things like that in the future, and maybe even expand to give away more scholarships, whether they're memorial scholarships or not.
Well, Harold did say last week when we had him on the show that they're going to try to expand to fall, spring, and winter, so that it gets everybody involved from all the way down from volleyball all the way to your last sport, tennis. Because a lot of people don't pay attention to tennis. I think you were a pretty good tennis player.
No, I never really played competitively. I mean, I'll swing a racket every now and then. Actually, my girlfriend's gotten me into pickleball lately. Have you played pickleball? It's like a scaled down version of tennis. I've played that more than tennis lately.
Well, we'll have to get her on the show one time and she can explain that game to everybody.
Well, the big news is that in Van Leer, where she's from, they're getting a pickleball court, and so that's the big happening now around these parts.
Yes, I see her over your shoulder as I can look in the background. She's looking as we're talking about pickleball, and she could. We would love for. Well, actually, she's in our screen right now. Explain pickleball to people that do not know about pickleball.
Okay, so pickleball is like a smaller version of tennis, yet bigger version of ping pong. You play with a wiffle ball and like a plastic paddle. It's very popular within the retired communities, but it's becoming more popular with everyone. Actually just started a job with the city of Pikeville, and Pikeville has 3 pickleball courts.
Wow.
And so, yeah, it's becoming a big thing, CJ. So you're going to have to
you'll come play pickleball with us.
Start playing pickleball.
I'm gonna have to pick up. Well, you know, I don't know. I have to come watch. I have to come watch an event or something to see what.
You can do PA for us.
Yeah, you can announce it.
Yeah, get CJ to announce the opening of the Van Leer pickleball court.
Yeah, CJ, have you been to Van Leer?
No, I'm sorry. I don't mean to not know my places, but I've not been to Van Leer.
You know Loretta Lynn?
Yes, I do know her. I've heard of her.
And Butcher Holler? Yeah, you should come up.
Oh well,
you can take a tour of her house.
So you guys, I need to. I told Tanner I wanted to come over some Saturday when they had a football game at Moorhead. He could pick me up somewhere, take me to the football game, bring me back to your home, enjoy my your hospitality. That I would return home, or because I like you guys. You guys are some of my favorite people, and I may have to put that in my schedule one of these days.
Yeah, especially this summer once the pickleball court gets finished. Tanner has an extra bedroom. You're more than welcome to stay there.
Tanner's got all kinds of room for everybody. But
I know.
I can just get up and Lauren can do the rest of the show. We still got 59 minutes left. If you'd rather have her, I'm just hired help here. Not even hired help.
You're doing. This is a good segment. As we wait for Josh, we're trying to get where Josh Cook's supposed to join us if he didn't get occupied. I know he's been a busy man. A lot of people have been asking him to interviews and all kinds of different things. But if we get him on the show, it's a good thing. He did text me earlier and told me that wanted to know how he done it. He might have forgot, but I haven't seen a text from him. So hopefully we'll get to him in just a little bit. Pickleball. I have to mention that to people here the next day or two and say I've learned a new sport. You mentioned if you don't watch out, you'll have people playing pickleball and trying to drink alcohol.
Well,
because when they play
the retirement communities can get a little wild, is what I hear.
When you play ping pong, sometimes they like to play knock the ping pong in the glass, and if you do, you have to take a shot.
Pong?
I don't drink. I'm not a drinker, but
I've heard it's called beer pong. Just stories I've heard.
Yeah, that's what I've heard. Yeah. I just we don't. We would never on this show. We'll never tell you to drink, but we
you
never.
can play sober.
Yes. But some probably play better. Drunk. I've seen a lot of people.
Probably look better playing to someone who is drunk. So.
Pickleball is really easy to play. Like that's a lot of elderly people play it because it's so easy. But you have to have hand-eye coordination. Is the main thing.
Pickleball should be the sponsor of your attorney. I mean, for your law office. You guys sponsor pickleball.
Yeah.
Or if you get injured playing pickleball, you can hire us to represent you.
Exactly right. Yes.
Van Leer. That's what he'll do.
It's my ultimate dream as an attorney. No, I could never do that. Van Leer's been good to me.
Van Leer, I do apologize for not knowing where Van Leer was at because the furthest I come is about unless we're going to a ball game to a different place. Sometimes I do get well known with other places sometimes, but very rarely will we go, I don't know the place. Now, Van Leer got by me because it's part of the school is not in a particular area. So that's why it got by me. So,
well, if you ever want to come to Pikeville,
I've been to Pikeville.
I work at the Expo Center. So if you ever want tickets, the Appalachian Wireless Arena is what it's called now. But if you ever want tickets to anything, just let me know and I can hook you up.
You work at the Appalachian Wire Arena?
Well,
Wow.
so I work for the city of Pikeville, but my office is in the arena, and my boss is the general manager of the arena. So the city of Pikeville kind of like, I don't want to say owns the Appalachian Wireless Arena, but kind of like, I don't know, they work together.
I have been there one time for an anniversary present for my wife. We came and watched Rascal Flatts.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, we did. Loved it. That was the best concert I have ever witnessed in my life. Now, I've seen a couple of concerts also in the Corbin Arena. They were both temporary Christian groups.
Yeah.
They were good. Both of them was really good. But that Rascal Flatts concert there there in Pikeville was probably one of the best concerts I've ever seen. Especially at the middle, about towards the end of the show. There was a family's house that burnt down, and Rascal Flatts had gave them a $10,000 check to rebuild their home because this woman, she had cancer. I think it was cancer. Her house had burnt down, and they had nowhere to live. And Rascal Flatts ended up helping them out by giving them money and some other stuff. So I thought that was the coolest thing I ever seen. But my wife was really excited because that's her favorite group. Well, then she gets stunned the other day while we're watching TV. She sees the lead singer for Rascal Flatts. She goes, "Hey, ain't that the lead singer for Rascal Flatts?" I said, "Maybe." I said, "She's not the lead singer no more." I said, "They're not together anymore." I said, "After COVID, they quit making music." She went, "What?" I said, "Yeah." I said, "COVID shut them down." I said, "They had one tour left in them, and I don't even think they even got to finish the tour."
Mm-hmm.
But they're no longer a group, and that was her favorite group.
Well, you could have taken her to the rodeo at the arena this weekend. They had a rodeo. You could have ridden a sheep. It was high times there
it
at
sold
the
out.
Appalachian
It was
Wireless
like a
Arena.
big deal.
Do you guys what are some big time events getting ready to come to the arena?
So we're having Poison. Is that Brett Michaels? You know?
Yes. Yeah.
They're going to be there this summer. Foreigner is going to be there.
Wow.
Trying to think. We just had the casting just performed there. I don't know. There's quite a few shows coming up, and I know they're about to announce some more, so it should be exciting.
Now, the Appalachian Wire Arena does have their own website, right? Like Corbin. I know Corbin has their own a site where you can go check out events on the Corbin one. Pikeville has the Appalachian Wire Arena has their own website, correct? So all they have to do is put the Appalachian Wire Arena in their search bar. They should be able to find what events are coming on there at the arena, right?
Yeah, and they can buy tickets on there too.
Yeah, I know. Tickets, a lot of times you offer an event and tickets go on sale. They don't last very long unless it's an event that's going to be around for a long time. I know about 6 months ago, The Price is Right was in Corbin. And they tried 7 different times to have that event. But because of COVID and all kinds of different stuff, they could never have it till then. WWE's been to Corbin. I wanted to go to that one, but I had a basketball game that night and I couldn't go. Is the WWE ever thinking about coming to Pikeville?
I don't know. I'll ask my boss tomorrow. I would love for WWE to come to Pikeville. I think that would be so fun.
Yeah,
there used to be monster trucks. I know would come a lot to Pikeville.
Yeah, like you said, he talked. There was an event in Corbin this weekend. I think it was monster trucks that was there. Hank Williams Jr. was in the Corbin Arena back in February. Everybody went to that concert. They said they loved it and said it was a great concert.
Snoop Dogg's coming to Corbin.
Snoop Dogg, he's come to Corbin in August or September.
Yeah. I wanted tickets, but it sold out.
You wouldn't get Snoopy Dogg tickets unless you was on the phone, prepared, ready to dial. You wouldn't get any tickets for that.
Yeah, Tanner wouldn't get me tickets for my birthday.
I didn't know Snoop Dogg. Oh, at the Corbin Arena.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, CJ bought them all up before I could even get online.
Aw.
So
No, the time he's supposed to be coming, I think I had something scheduled, but there was one event there that my wife wants to go to in October. They ain't sent tickets out for it. I think it's like a big time religion group's coming. She wants to go watch it, so I'm gonna try to maybe get tickets for that. We'll go to it.
well, what would be really interesting is if they took that church gospel tickets and then had that the same night as Snoop, and those would be two just very vastly different audiences converge for one show. And I think I would buy a ticket to that for your birthday. Snoop, Snoop plus the Gaithers.
Oh Lord, that would be that would be, you would have your Stonies on one end and your Pentecostal people here on the other, or the Baptists, that'd be two different peoples on two different ends. That would not be a wise decision. But I don't know. You never know about these days. I'm amazed by some of the undercard people. Like when Rascal Flatts was, we saw that concert. We actually, this Florida Georgia line played in their undercard, and they had just started. Like they were just a group. They just had a couple number one hits more than like 6 or 7 months. And we got to watch them, and that was pretty cool. Because them being a group for the first time, they hadn't been on tour much with Rascal Flatts, but they invited them out. That was cool.
Yeah.
We got to eat at the Pizza Hut there in Pikeville. We had a good weekend. We spent the night in Pikeville. I took her to the movies. It was a good anniversary then.
You'll have to come. I'm about to move to Pikeville, actually, so.
Oh, Tanner's going to love that.
I know. He's so excited. I just finished moving from Lexington today, so he's so excited to have me. You can see he's so happy.
I'm telling you, I'll leave and she can do the rest of the show. CJ, you have better chemistry with her than me, probably than I do with her. And she doesn't know much about sports, but as you can see, she has no trouble filling time. So,
Yeah.
Well, I learned about her through Ryan Lemon, and Ryan Lemon was on the show. And of course, she used to work at the KSR bar there in Lexington, and I've never been there. I do want to go there one time. I hear it's a happening place, especially during UK games and all kinds of, like, if they're having special events. I know today they were having a St. Peter's. They trying to get a lot of people in there because they want St. Peter's to win. Of course, they got crushed. North Carolina beat them like a drum. But they probably had another great turnout there for that event. But it seems like Matt Jones knows what he's doing. I think it seems like he gets big crowds in there all the time. And I hear the food's pretty good.
Yeah,
So,
I'll get the cornbread. I used to, hopefully no one's from KSR is watching, but I used to steal the cornbread, like a piece of cornbread, and go eat it on my break. So, I have my attorney here.
Yeah, I was about to say, I hope you know a good criminal defense attorney. Admitting to theft by unlawful taking on an internet live stream. That's a first for
Ron Lemon's watching right now.
This is one way to juice your ratings, CJ. Just have people come on and confess to their crimes. And it's good for my business, too.
See, I'm trying to help you out here. I just got you they're going to look back at the cornbread. They're going to go, uh-oh, we got something missing. All right, we know where to go.
Well, the thing is, I know how often she actually pays for dinner, and I know she wouldn't be good about paying for her retainer.
Okay.
That was
This is
harsh.
how I get treated all the time, CJ.
Yeah, but he loves you. He does.
He does.
He's a good guy.
He's a good guy. Now that he's an attorney, he has the money to do it, so he can pay for dinner from now on.
Well, next time we're down in Barberville, CJ, we'll go to the Dairy Queen or wherever you want to go down in Barberville.
Well, if you was coming to Barberville, then I would just rather meet you in Corbin because there's so much more. There's better places.
So good.
There's better places in Corbin and better places in London than there is there. We got a phone call. Hold on a minute. Let me see who we got here. I think it's Ryan.
Oh.
It'll be right.
Hold on a minute. It takes me a second to get focused here. All right, go ahead, caller. You're on the CJ Howard Show. Go ahead, caller. Okay, that was Ryan trying to call me, but he didn't say nothing. So he'll probably try again. But guys, if you want to call the show, I mentioned the phone number tonight. Rolling across the string, 346-140-906. I'm gonna take a guess that Josh got busy tonight, so I'll try to reach back out to him next week, and hopefully he can be on the show. I know he's a lot going. Well, look here, when you win a state championship, a lot of people want your time, and I understand he's probably been a busy man, so we don't get to him. We'll hopefully try to get to him next week.
We can talk some Final Four if you want to, CJ. Now that we know who the teams are going to be.
We can. You want me to go ahead and give it a few more awards, and then we'll.
Okay, I didn't know you. I thought you were done with that. No, by all means, finish the awards.
Oh Lord, no! I got a two more pages. Most of these are just team awards. First team, second team, third team. Okay, that's what we're going to do now. Okay, this 13 boys for the season. On the 13 boys, it was Will Isford from Estill County, White Hensley from Wesley County, Jagoe Roberts from Cordia, Sawyer Thompson from Wolf County, Max Johnson from Hazard. 13 girls have Emma Napier from Wesley County, Emily Bowling from Wesley County, Laura Boggs from Letcher Central, Lexi Mullins from Perry Central, Addison Terry from Owsley County. Second team boys, it was Lance McKenzie from Perry Central, Zach Watterson from Lee County, Christian Collins from Breathitt County, Xavier Terry from Owsley County, and Hayden Neese from Buckhorn. Second team girls, it was Michaela Cottle from Powell County, Mia Hale from Estill County, Kia Couch from Letcher Central, Brianna Tritcher from Breathitt County, Emily Neese from Perry Central. First team boys, it was Naj Welch from Cordia, Greg Brooks from Cordia, Ridge Beverly from Perry Central, Austin Speary from Breathitt County, Scott Shepard from Knott County. On the girls, it was Carla Smith from Owsley County, Courtney Hoskins from Wesley County, Kaylee Gayhart from Knott County Central, Abby Maggart from Knott County Central, and Owsley County's Lexi Lynch. And the final two awards of the night were Player of the Year for boys and girls, and the boys' Player of the Year was Landon Napier from Perry Central, and the girls' Player of the Year was Kaylee Banks from Letcher Central. So these are all the awards. If you watch the show later on, you can go back over them as me and Tanner did. Tanner, a lot of great athletes in those first three-team lists there. I'm gonna disagree on a few. I'm gonna disagree on a few because I've seen all these kids play, and I have no problem. But the ones I would disagree with are, I actually think that Zach Watterson should have been a candidate for first team. You lead the state second. No, you're the third leading state in score, and you're on the second team. It's a little iffy there. I might would have. I mean, but they got a good first team. Though, what's your thoughts?
Well, my initial thought sitting here listening to you read that exhaustive list is they had to do three teams, first team, second. You know, usually All-American in football or basketball, you only hear first or second team. I guess some sports do third team All-Americans too. But, you know, the quality of athlete and the number of good athletes in the mountains is increasing at such a rapid clip. They're going to have to start a fourth team and a fifth team in these awards before too long. So it's good. It's good to see them include so many athletes. And I admittedly, to your specific point about that specific athlete and his statistics and whether he should have been considered higher, I will defer to you because I'm out of my depth talking about that. I don't necessarily have an opinion one way or the other on that particular matter, other than to say that well, you reiterate what I said earlier, and that's anytime you see young men and young women in Eastern Kentucky getting some recognitions for their accomplishments, whether it's athletics in this case or academics, then that's a good thing.
Yeah, well, I look at first of all, I look at all these. I look at all the awards that was gave out tonight. I agree on every one of them. The biggest thing is if you have a panel. I know the people that work at We Elite, Harold Bashir, Brian Napier, and all those guys that do the shows and stuff. They don't have any input on the awards. They've got a special panel of people that are not with them, but they do the voting on the awards. So when it come to Harold said he had never seen the winners, and I believe that because the panel did not bring out the list. The only people that saw the list were the people ordering the awards. So this is a good thing because I've always been a big person of our 14th region kids never get recognized for nothing. I see the 13th being recognized. I see the 15th being recognized, but I never do see our 14th kids getting recognition. And this is what We Elite does. I'm all for it. I'm all for it 100%. And, I think, we've seen one thing we haven't mentioned in the show that we're going to mention right now is that you talk about recognition. Well, we've got a lot of opening coaching jobs. And this is a pretty solid list. Now, we do have breaking news on 2 coaching hires. Hazard Girls have hired their new head basketball coach, former assistant of Martin County, Todd Howard. Now, I think Todd's been also helping Carla Booth, who was supposed to have been with me tonight, but she's out of town. Carla's got a fundamental school that she does a lot of work, tremendous work, teaching kids the fundamentals of the game. But he is the new coach at the Hazard Lady Bulldogs. And Whitley County's hired their new boys coach. They just went one exit down and hired Eric Schwar from Williamsburg. So Eric's just going to move his stuff one exit down, and he'll be in Whitley County. So he takes over for the Cardinals, and now Williamsburg has been added to the list of coaching hires that need to be filled. Here are the ones I know of, and that is the Clay County girls, the Leslie County boys, the Johnson Central girls, the Middlesboro girls, the Middlesboro boys, the Wayne County girls, and now the Williamsburg Yellow Jacket boys. Now, Harold also told us last week, and there could be some openings here in the 14th coming up, some more openings that we don't know of. So he said, keep our eyes open. So what's your thoughts of all that?
Well, my first thought hearing you run down those list of vacant jobs, I mean, you have some really good jobs there with some schools and some positions and programs that have a lot of tradition. I mean, the Hazard girls have a state title. You have the Clay County girls have a state title. You look at some of those other jobs on there. Johnson Central went through a really good stretch of girls basketball, 5 to 10 years ago. Middlesboro has had some good teams over the years. Leslie County boys, have had some good teams, over the years. So I think that, the word that comes to mind to me is potential. It's an opportunity for a person, the right fit in each one of these programs to get them back, to their former glory, or at least partially to it, partial to it, or close to it. And it's so difficult, and this is true not only on the high school level, maybe more so at the college level. A lot of times, you'll hire somebody who has all the credentials, who has the pedigree, and they know their X's and O's, and on paper they're a home run hire, but maybe they just don't, for whatever reason, mesh with your program or mesh with the players and parents. And so it's so tricky. It's a very difficult plane to land. And with all these openings and all these schools having to make these decisions now as we get further and further into the year and get to the tail end of this academic year, and this summer we'll be getting ready to start a new academic year in the fall. These decisions take on a renewed sense of importance, and you just hope that the schools are able to get it right and get their right man or get their right woman in there to lead these programs.
we talk about Clay County. Coach Birchall had been there 20 plus years. He took over for Donnie Gray when Donnie Gray was the head coach. And then, of course, Lewis Morris, who was the boys' head coach at Middlesboro. I think Lewis had been there 12 or 13 years. So for those two schools, this is a new territory. But for some of the other schools, it's something you have to do probably every other 2 or 3 years. The Johnson Central job was, am I correct? Coach McKenzie, I think, actually had to coach the boys and the girls this year.
Yeah.
But is that where the Coach Rice was the head coach at?
Yeah, that's true. And Coach McKenzie, I think, ended up pulling double duty. And I tell you what, there's not many coaches that could do that, but he's one of them. He's an outstanding coach.
Yeah, he's if anybody can do it, he can. He's one. He did it, and I he had to really adjust a little bit. I think he had to move a game or two here and there, but most of the time the girls played opposite of the boys, so it kept him busy. But that's where you always say good help is always good to have. And, he's always had a great staff wherever he's been coach at. So the help that he had for both the boys and the girls really was able to pull that off.
You know who else did that one year, pulled double duty, was Derek Acal at Harlan Independent. The Harlan Green Dragons, sorry. I call them Harlan Independent, and their fans always remind me we don't like being called Harlan Independent. I put the Independent in there because sometimes people will call Harlan County Harlan, just colloquially. So I always throw Independent in there. But anyway, the Harlan Green Dragons, Derek Acal, who's the current boys coach, he coached the girls for years, took them to a region title. And then there was 1 year he coached both girls and boys. And I was talking with him once, and I said, what do you think about that? He said, I will never do it again. He said it wasn't necessarily the time commitment. It was, you've got not only one set of parents to deal with, but two sets of parents, or two different groups of parents, and everything else that all the other difficulties that come with being a high school basketball coach are multiplied by two. So. It takes a special kind of person to be able to pull double duty on a program.
Don't know how hard it is, because that's why I always tell you, if you've got a good staff, if your boy staff has got to be, if he's doing something with the girls, and your staff needs to be able to help you out with the boys, vice versa. But only coaches that are really, really good, that can adapt, are good at these things. We Coach Rice was, of course, the girls' coach. He was unfortunately killed in a car wreck, I believe, in Martin County. He was a great man, and Johnson Central really missed him. And I think that it was a tough situation there. Johnson Central's had a lot of. It's been a really tough couple of years for them. Of course, with Coach Matney, with Coach Rice, with all the other things been going on, it's been really hard for them. And I think they've been able to pull together and do the things they do. You see a lot of accountability and putting it, try to keep it together.
Yeah, and I don't want to go too far off the rails. I know we've already talked a lot about Coach Matney in the past and what a big loss that was. But just what brought another memory up for me recently was the 10-year anniversary of the March 2nd tornado outbreak in eastern Kentucky.
And
Johnson County was one of the counties that was affected the most by it. And people were killed there. And Staffordsville, I think, is where the tornado touched down. Yep. So, Coach Matney coached through that. You think of all the tragedies that he was there and had to kind of lead that community through. Yep. March 2nd, which we just had the 10-year anniversary of the tornadoes, the severe flooding in 2015. The COVID season, he was in 20 during the first COVID year, he was coach, and on and on. And so when we had the 10-year anniversary of the March 2nd tornadoes back on March 2nd of this month of this year, it reminded me of that again, just how much of a pillar he was in that community through these real periods of adversity. But yeah, like you said, CJ, that's on the girls basketball side. Johnson Central's a 4A school. They got some good numbers of students. They got an outstanding basketball gym. Did you get to watch any of the 15th region tournament?
Yes, I did. I watched it on the D&D Sports Network. Then, of course, the CJ Howard Show could be seen on the D&D Sports Network. So we'll tie that in real quick. But as I was at the 13th region tournament watching it, I was watching the 15th region play, and they, of course, I was actually their eyes and ears while the championship game was going on. I was giving them a play-by-play of the boys championship game, which, of course, Pikeville ended up playing the North Laurel in the state tournament. And so that all got worked out. And but yeah, it was a good tournament. The caliber of athletes in the 15th. Daryl McCoy, who I've had on the show many times, we talk about the caliber of athletes over there, but we don't talk about the athletes that we don't see much of. Kenzie Feltner comes to mind. She's a junior guard at Lawrence County. Unbelievable player. But she's a good candidate for Miss Basketball next year. There's some others over there. But that was a really good tournament, and I enjoyed watching it, and I saw some really good athletes, young and older kids.
Well, and they had some really big crowds. I mean, the attendance was way up at the 15th region tournament. And I've been around this region over here long enough to pick up there's this debate. There are two factions of people. Some want the tournament to be moved back to the high schools and play them in places like Johnson Central and Pikeville. There's probably only a handful of high schools in the 15th region where you could even host a tournament just due to seating capacity. But my goodness, I mean, you saw that tournament, you saw the crowd shots. Where are you going to put all those people if a high school hosts the 15th region? There were nights where it would have taken 2 or 3 high school gyms around here to house the number of people that were in the expo. Now, I will say one of the reasons attendance was up this year is it's an election year, and all the politicians were there shaking hands, and not just the politicians from Pike County, but the politicians for the local offices all over Eastern Kentucky. So that's been an interesting debate to hear people talk about whether the region tournament should be moved back to the schools. But I mean, it seems like, and I keep calling it the Expo Center, it's the Appalachian Wireless Arena now. It seems like that's a great venue, and it should be there to stay.
Well, they're having the same debate in the 13th. A lot of the schools, like Harlan County, Clay County, the bigger schools, they want to host the 13th region tournament. They want to get it out of the arena so bad that but they can't because they ain't got the numbers to get it pulled out of there. More people would rather. Redbird hosted this tournament this past season. They probably made more money and for their school than they've ever had. They wouldn't have never got that chance ever if it had been still at the high schools. Here, they got an opportunity to fund their school and make some money and be able to do it. And I'm all for it. They need to stay at I just wish the 14th region. Now, when you watch the 14th, John, he'll agree with me 100%. He's only been here 1 year, but he will agree with me. There's a difference in the 13th and 15th region tournament compared to the 14th, because the 14th they play at the high schools and they're right up on you, and it's such an intense, and you got so many chill bumps going down your arms that you don't really have that in the 13th and the 15th because the arena spreads you out a little more. So, I mean, that's just the only difference there. But,
Well, I mean, I don't think one's better or worse. I think it's just different. I think there's something to being in the 15th region and especially if you're not a Pikeville High kid or a Shelby Valley kid going to Pikeville and playing at Pikeville. I think there's something to that if you're, Betsy Lane, or if you're Martin County, or if you're Paintsville or Johnson Central, or, I think there's something to that. And it's the same thing with the 13th region. I mean, that Knox Central North Laurel game was nuts at Corbin Arena. So yeah, I don't know. I think there's something to playing in those neutral sites too.
Yeah, well, yeah, and the 14th ain't that is not that lucky. They still got to play at the high schools, and the 4 schools they play at are Powell, Knott, Breathitt, and Perry, which are the 4 biggest schools in the region. So they have to do with what they've got. But Tanner brought up a great point, and Corbin and the Appalachian Wise Arena are both made different. Both are made different. Corbin's a lot wider. I think the Appalachian Wise Arena is a little more closer in. So they're totally different, but both do a tremendous job hosting their what the venue they've got. So I'm tickled to death. I don't never want to see it leave from neither place. But I was tickled to death too that they allowed a certain media to be able to cover the 15th region tournament, because sometimes you ain't going to get to see it. If you don't go, well, they're never. If you don't, you can always get the D&D Sports Network. On Twitter or Facebook or anything. So it allowed the people that couldn't be there to watch the games, and I think that was a tremendous thing.
Well, let's not forget about that really good outlet that covered the 13th region.
Yeah, WYMT. They were right there every step, boy and girl. But I didn't see my friend Tanner there. He couldn't do any games that week, and I was heartbroken. I was like, but I did get to see John and Eugene, but I did miss Tanner.
Well, John North, by all accounts and everything I heard, did an outstanding job. And I told Neil that I was available that week if he needed me, but he told me that he had it covered with John and Eugene. And I said, that is completely fine with me. Those guys do an outstanding job. And that's 2 years in a row now that John North has kind of been the lead play-by-play guy for the 13th tournament. I work with him. He's a consummate pro. Does a very good job, and I'm glad that YMT was able to cover the 13th. You had a lot of people interested from across the state. You had the Reed Shepherd angle and people wanting to watch that, but you have a lot of people from Corbin, from London, from Harlan who live in other parts of the state now, and even in other parts of the country. In fact, I remember we used to look at the data for our live streams on Game of the Week, and we would get hits from other countries, and a lot of times it would be soldiers from Eastern Kentucky who grew up in this area who were deployed, and they're like, I just want to keep up with what Hazard's doing, or I want to keep up with what Corbin or Harlan or anywhere around here is doing. So any media outlet that is able to provide that kind of service and do it for the right reason, I think is a good thing.
Oh, YMT did an awesome job. They actually got a really good. I think the girls' tournament in the YMT, the girls' tournament that YMT covered in the 13th was really good, because we had Cinderella Jackson County climb all the way through there. Taking that bail and open the game, had a really good chance of winning the semifinal game. We saw Corbin Cinderella get there by beating North and South. You couldn't have asked for anything better for a format where YMT was there and able to cover it, and it was covered well. So it was awesome. It was just tremendous.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you.
Yeah, you guys tremendous.
That's what we do.
Speaking of tremendous, Tanner, I don't know if you got to watch it Friday night. Probably not, being a late start. They didn't come on to 12:15, and I stayed up personally to watch the final sports overtime of the season. And I have to say, you and Courtney, you bloated off the map. Unbelievable. Great work. I love what you did. You had a review of basketball, review of football, and a review of a few other sports. It was awesome. And what you covered, you guys did a tremendous job. And for your first year, I give you guys A+. A+. So
thank you very much. Let's not forget about Camille.
Camille. Camille. We'll never forget about Camille, because you two come in at a time where transition was being moved along, and a lot of questions had to be answered. And when Camille finally decided what she wanted to do for herself, I miss her. I always go to Twitter and try to see what she's doing, see how she's doing. I always keep up with Carly Bell. I'll keep up with all the former WYMT reporters that have been there before, because I like to know what they're doing. I just like to keep up with them. But you guys, for the length of time that you guys have been here, super job. A+. You did really good job.
Thank you. I appreciate that. It was The one painful part going through all that was the UK men's basketball wrap up. That hurt. But damn it.
Yeah. Well,
Other
St. Peter, after the run St. Peter's had, I think it makes Kentucky look a little bit better. I mean, North Carolina today was just the better team. And, I can't believe that we're going to have a Final Four game, Duke, North Carolina.
Mhm.
I mean, I thought Kentucky Louisville in the Final Four about 5 years ago was crazy. But to have Mike Krzyzewski, Final Four, to be against North Carolina, that's insane. And you talk about the coverage it's going to get the whole week. I mean, I don't know. I haven't seen the times for the two games, but I don't guarantee you that's the late game. If it ain't the late game, there's something wrong.
I believe it is. I haven't checked, but what's the other Kansas Villanova? So
it's going to be unbelievable too. I mean, look at the guard play. Kentucky fans look back at these four teams. Two of the four, Kentucky wiped plumb out of the gymnasium. North Carolina and Kansas. And then Kentucky's first game when they played Duke, we could debate whether they were ready. Probably not. Things they had to work on. And they didn't get a chance to play Villanova. But Kentucky could have been right there. But, I love these Final Four teams. Tanner and I were going to talk about that. I think these are the best four teams you need for a great weekend of basketball there in New Orleans.
Yeah, it's kind of ironic after a whole tournament full of upsets and a 15 seed making the Elite Eight. And, there were a couple other Cinderellas too. Miami kind of got overshadowed as a 10 seed, making it all the way to the Elite Eight. After all of the mayhem, we end up with 4 blue bloods in the Final Four, Duke, Carolina, Villanova, and Kansas. And from CBS's perspective, that's probably their dream scenario because you get the intrigue of the Cinderella stories through the first 2 weekends of the tournament. But now we get down to the nitty gritty, and you want the blue bloods in there that are going to attract the national audience, especially having Duke in the Final Four.
This game, these games are not even on CBS; they're on TBS.
Okay, Turner Broadcasting.
Yeah, but CBS is probably kicking themselves, saying, "Oh man, God, why couldn't we? This has to be Turner's year to have this games. What are we doing?"
As someone who works in a CBS affiliate, I am glad we don't have another thing where we have to go on at 12:30. Last couple weekends have not been fun.
I love it where you can see every game. TBS, TNT, there's another network they use, and then
the one that airs Cops when they're not airing NCAA.
Yeah, but that's what's fun about this. And then you're right about the Blue Bloods. I mean, you couldn't have asked for a better Final Four. And you want to know what was even more crazy? I fill out a bunch of brackets, so I just filled. I'm filling out brackets. I'll have some brackets with crazy winners and crazy losers. I had one bracket left. It essentially got Duke winning it all. I had Duke, Villanova, and Kansas in my Final Four. The only one I didn't have was North Carolina in that little wacky bracket. So I got like 94% of that bracket left. So Duke was to win it. I won't win no prizes, but there's only 2 brackets left in America that had every game right.
Oh my goodness! I don't think anyone's ever picked a perfect bracket, have they?
No.
And someone has a perfect bracket as of right now.
I didn't know there were any left after.
They said there was 2. They said there was 2. Was that incorrect news?
Not from what I mean.
Okay. Well.
Yeah, I could be wrong about that, but I didn't think there were any after. I think it was the.
I thought they said there was 2 left. There might have been. I might have misread that.
I think it was North Carolina beating Baylor. I think that killed it. I think.
Oh, okay. All right.
You could be wrong about that, but
all right.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's a great Final Four, and what's even more good about next weekend is it's WrestleMania weekend. WrestleMania has been broken down into 2 days, Saturday and Sunday. And then you got the women's Final Four on Sunday night. I mean, you couldn't have asked for a better weekend of sports than that right there.
Yeah, I think the only other better sports time or comparable sports time is when you get into November and you still got college football, you have college basketball starting, you have the other fall sports going as well. But March is far and away always my favorite time of the year.
Oh yeah, I love it.
You got college basketball, you got the NBA, you got usually baseball starting up, not this year, but you got all that stuff
April
going
7th,
on. At the same time.
April 7th, they're going to start.
You got the Masters to look forward to. So
yeah, Masters is going to be big this year.
Always a fun time of year. And plus for me, I miss going to the high school basketball games, but I mean, tell you what, yesterday it was nice being able to sleep in. So not having to spend overtime to do that was nice. I didn't know. I told Brian Milam today I didn't know what to do with myself.
Tanner remembers the days when he used to got to sleep in, but those days are few far between for him anymore.
No more sleeping in, but I didn't sleep in much at YMT. I mean, those tournament games would run till like 12:30, 1 o'clock in the morning sometimes. And I remember standing outside doing live shots in front of empty stadiums at 1 o'clock in the morning for these NCAA tournament games. But looking back, those were good memories.
Do you remember the one tournament that Leslie County actually won the tournament that year? It was semifinal night. The electricity went out. It didn't come back on for an hour. The second semifinal game did not start until 11:45.
Oh my gosh!
And
that was when the Leslie girls won it that year.
No, Leslie boys.
Where was this?
2006. I was there. I was sitting there in the bleachers when the lights went out, the power went out. They couldn't get it back on. It was I don't think it was a storm. I believe there had been something happened, and it took forever. I mean,
where was this?
This was at Knott County.
Okay, Knott County Central. Okay,
it was 2006. I remember a lot of people went home. They said they weren't going to stay here all night. I said, well, I'm not leaving. I said, my Eagles played in the second semifinal game. I'm going to be right here until they play till the last quarter. And then we won the game by 4 or 5 points, I think. But we almost went to overtime. And that would have been even crazier if we went to overtime because we was already past, I think we was already past 1 o'clock anyway. So, yeah. So that was a wild one, but I was mentioning that you've been out 12:30. That was the one year it went a little past 12:30. So, but you have to look at it for me, John, and give me the reason why the power went out, because that was the same night they was doing a big presentation to King Kelly Coleman.
Wayland. Floyd County.
Yeah, it was a big thing. They done it in between games, and they had to wait. I think North Florida. North was in the first game against. We played Harlan. I know one game. It was championship or semis. North Florida was in the semis with us. I can't remember the other team, but it was crazy. It was wild. I mean, we sat there in the dark forever. It was like the people at YMT were like, "We can't do nothing about it. We ain't got no electricity. We can't do anything until they turn it back on." But you have to look up the highlights and go back and just because I was there. I'm sitting there front row. I was like, I ain't leaving. I'll stay here until my Eagles are done. And I was there till I know I was there till after 1.
I'll have to do that now that I have a little bit more time on my hands. And actually, Brian was down here. We did the We Elite Awards today. And, did you get all the winners and stuff? Because I was going to send you the winners and stuff if you didn't get the. So I thought you might want to mention that on the Sportscast on 11. Yeah, we got them. I mean, I presented one of them.
That's awesome.
So yeah, the whole thing is on Facebook if you want to watch it. But actually, it was I couldn't stay the whole time. I actually had to get my car worked on, so I had to leave about midway through. I kid you not. CJ, the last 2 weeks or so, since the last time I got paid, I've had to jump start my car every morning to get it going, to get it up the 15 minutes up Route 15 to get up to YMT.
Can I make a suggestion to you?
Sure.
This suggestion. I would take your car and say, "Hey, Tim Short, you want to make a trade? Here, let's put you in something really nice and reliable, safe. We might be able to get you pretty good rebates. They got them right now. I say Tim Short will take care of you. Then you won't have those car problems anymore."
I'm good. As of about 5 o'clock this afternoon, I became the proud father of bouncing baby battery. So we're good. we're good. I'm 150 bucks in the hole, but we're good now. I was there with Brian, and he actually just handed me every now and then he'll come down to and Tanner, you probably know this. Every now and then he'll come down to Hazard. He'll go into YMT and he'll go through all the old tapes and he'll see what he can put on YouTube. And he gave me a whole duffel bag full of tapes. Huh?
He's been doing a phenomenal job lately. He's put some really great highlights out there. I watch him all the time.
He gave me a big duffel bag full of tapes that he's had for about 6 months up in Lexington, and then another stack of DVDs. So I'll have to organize those whenever I get back into work tomorrow. But I'll definitely look up that. What was it? 2006? You said 2006.
Yeah.
Was it the YMT Mountain Classic?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Presented by blah blah blah. Whoever else. So.
I think back then it was Wayne Supply. They were the main.
Supply.
Wayne Supply was the main one, and I'm thinking I couldn't remember the second one. There was only 2 big main sponsors when the YMT first started. It was Wayne Supply, and I can't remember the other one. It's not the top of my head. I mean, there was a bunch of little sponsors, but I'm talking about how now it's ARH and Wayne Supply. And I think there's
the first time I had to type that down in a script, and once again, Tanner would know this. Every time you do a newscast, you have the script timer, and you gotta be right at you gotta be out right at 6:30 on the dot. So, when I typed out the YMT Food City Mountain Basketball Classic presented by Kentucky Farm Bureau and sponsored by ARH, that right there took up 10 seconds of airtime. So I only had another 20 seconds to actually talk about the thing.
It's a mouthful to say coming back from commercial when calling the game too. So I try to get in as often as possible, but I'm guilty of just kind of saying, we're back at the classic.
Yep.
Yep. I've heard you do that. Last year I was sitting right behind him and I had a little ball in my hand. I wanted him to sign it. He signed it for me, but the ink on it disappeared. And I said, "Oh man!" And then some little kid come by, and I gave that ball to him because he wanted it. I said,
"The one you signed for me, I still have. You signed one for me, and I still have it.
You still thank you for keeping that." Did you enjoy your time tonight? I was going to ask you, did you enjoy that?
The award show?
Yeah.
Yeah, I had a good time. I got to see some of the 14th region coaches again. Got to see Winston Lee. That's always a good time. I always give him a little bit of trouble because he did the 14th region championship broadcast for, I want to say it was Hometown 24. And whenever I was shooting the game, I said, "Man, this is different. I'm the one on the court and you're the one on TV. What the heck's going on here? What world do we live in?" So now I call him TV's Winston Lee. Always good to see him, and I always good to see Brian. Anytime YMT sports directors get together, no matter what era, it's a good day. So, we had a really good time. We got to honor Randy Napier and Coach Fannin from Hazard back in the 90s, and it was just a really good time. It's always good to honor our kids because this is what we do it for. We don't do it for us. We don't do it for our own glory, or at least I don't. We do it, for the athletes and the fans and the coaches. So it's always good to give them their due more than just, 30 seconds on TV.
I would hope, I don't know if you guys could ever do this, but I would like, if this came out to be a big thing, I'd like to see YMT put it on their, maybe in a program one time. I think a lot of people would watch it. I mean, a lot of people watched it on Facebook. I don't know the final numbers, but they were having a ton of watchers when I was watching just a tad of it. But I wouldn't mind seeing that on YMT maybe. That'd be awesome. I think it's a great. We always talk about how Les Dixon does great work in the 13th, giving out his awards. I think D&D does a lot of work, giving out awards in the 15th, and then We Elite does a lot of great work here in the 14th. It's good to see that our kids are getting recognized now. As just told Taylor earlier, I felt like 14th region athletes were always being left out because nobody never cared about them. Now that We Elite is here, they are helped to pick up the slack, and the kids are getting recognized now, and I think it's tremendous.
Right, and on that point about the awards thing, I mean, I'd love to do something like that, but at the same time, I'd almost rather be happy having us do our own thing, have We Elite do their own thing, Bluegrass do their own thing, because the more these kids get recognized, the more awards they have. That's something they can take with them for the rest of their lives.
I know. I don't think you guys have done an award show for about 3 years since COVID. The last award show I remember was 18 when Willie's before COVID come, and I don't think you've had an award ceremony. Give out awards like that. Like they had one special sports overtime for nothing but coach of the year, player of the year, this that. Willie and Camille did that. I think Jamie and them did it too when they were there. It was a fun show. It was one of the last shows before the final sports overtime of the season they would do. That would set up the season finale. So hopefully you guys will bring back your award ceremony someday.
I think I would love to do that. I think the thing that kept us from doing that this year is with Kentucky losing early, because we, according to everyone I talked to here, sports overtime keeps going until Kentucky's done, and because Kentucky ended early, there was at the time there were still 5 more sports overtimes left on the schedule, and then we were just kind of sitting around going like, well, what the heck are we going to fill it up with? There's no high school basketball, there's no Kentucky basketball. We can only use so much NCAA highlights before they start cracking down on you.
Baseball, softball.
Yeah, but like there's only so many games going on, and they're all at like 5:30, and it's kind of hard to get them. And that's when Neil decided to not do the last 4, have one more after that, and because we knew it was going to air at like 12:30, we didn't want to do any awards thing because no one's going to see it. So and we didn't have time to get voting up. So I'd like to do something like that next year. I'd like to do something like that for football and basketball.
That's what they did. They used to do.
Yeah. Do one for football in December and one for basketball in March or April.
That's exactly how they done it. I watched it. I watched both. I used to watch sport. I'm lucky now because we've switched carriers, so I get to watch YMT now all the time. I didn't get to watch it before, but now that I've gotten to watch it all the time, I'm excited because I get a chance to see things I wouldn't see before. If it hadn't been for YMT, I would have never got to see the great commercial that Tanner was a part of for his law firm, because I got to see beautiful animals, some really great people, and it was a tremendous commercial.
Well, thank you, CJ. I do appreciate that. And I'll tell you what, my first year at YMT, Derek Forrest and Josh McKinney they did a Thursday preview show for the games coming up.
I wish we would bring that back. Yes.
It's just a lot of work, and John can tell you. It's a lot of work doing that show, is what I've been told, is why they eventually just didn't have the manpower and the hours to be able to do it. But a lot of people liked that Thursday preview show.
I found a clip on YouTube where the Big Dipper come in for a football preview. It was the Big Dipper, Brandon Hensley, another one of the reporters. There was 4 of them, and they were going through the mountain teams that were in the playoffs left each week. And the Big Dipper was there, and they let him pick games. And you know how exciting, how good a time the Big Dipper had. YMT really liked him a lot, and they let him do a lot of things with him. But that was a great show. You ought to look up that clip. I've got it. I saw it. I said, this is awesome. I said, I like this. Big Dipper back there. I think it was a couple years before he passed. We also need to remember, too, that yesterday was the 2-year anniversary of the passing of Ira Combs. Harold had put that on his Twitter account, and Ira, I miss him so much. Ira did so much for mountain athletes here in the Commonwealth football, not in the Commonwealth, but the whole Commonwealth, not just the mountain, Commonwealth. I mean, he does so many great events all over the place for football and basketball, stuff like that. But we don't need to forget about Ira. He was a tremendous man, and I miss him every day. And I wish him and the Big Dipper both were still alive. They were two of my favorite people, and I leaned on them a lot. When I was young, I'm still learning things, but hopefully I can turn this show into something that they're looking down in heaven and they're proud of. And hopefully the people in the out there watching and being part of it was proud of too, you know.
I ran into Harold Combs the other day. I had court in Hazard, and I was walking out of the courthouse, and Harold was driving by and hollered at me. So that was good to see, and it reminded me of the one time I was on Ira's program. What do you call it? The Mountain Sports Review. Yeah. He had me on one time, and it was very memorable. And you're right, what a legend. And I don't know of anybody who did as much to promote high school sports in this region as Ira did. And you mentioned the Dipper as well. They're two titans of Eastern Kentucky sports, and we lost them both too soon for sure.
Yeah. We don't never forget them. I don't never want them forgotten, because I don't think sports would have been the same without both of them. You know, Ira did his work on the promoting kids on the. He got a ton of kids in college. He put a ton of kids through his recruiting service of saying, "Here, you come watch this kid play," and these scouts would come, and these kids would get college scholarships. And that's what it's all about, and that's what made Ira so special. And you know, the Big Dipper was doing a lot of that same stuff. You know, his program is one of the most listened programs ever on WSGS, but not just WSGS, but all over the entire world. I mean, he had people from Tokyo, Japan called in the show. You know, that just tells you just how important people all over the world would listen to him. And you know, it was phenomenal. I mean, you couldn't have asked for nothing better. So, you know, but anytime I can see highlights of. But when I saw that Sports Overtime, when I saw that special Sports Overtime preview, that made me think, and then you brought it up again. I said, well, maybe one of these days, if John and Courtney and them gets a few extra hands, they can maybe do some of those fun things again. I've always wanted to see Sports Overtime, not Sports Overtime. I always wanted to see us do like a game day thing. You know, when you have your game of the week in football.
Yeah.
You guys do the newscast, the sports report, and everything from that football field, and do it like a game day atmosphere. And then have somebody be your special picker of like 6 or 7 games like they do on game day.
That'd be neat. The only problem would be the mechanical stuff. You know, I mean, you know, think about going to a place like Harlan County. You know, how good of a signal you're going to pick up and things like that. And you know, you see a lot of more anymore. You're seeing a lot of these people that are doing live stream by their own internet, you know, by their own internet box and stuff. So that just seems like to be the thing that everybody else is doing these days. So they're getting around. If there's less internet, they're finding a way to get it. By, you know, I've seen a lot of people buy them little internet boxes. They have all kinds of internet. Well, John, we didn't really get to the point I wanted to get to tonight because we've had such a great time talking about other things. And when I have Tanner on here, that's what makes the show. This is my favorite type of show. These shows, when I've got 3 people, when I've had all the people I've had on here tonight with great conversation and great continued conversation, because you know it's about the kids, and that's what we tried to promote on here. And I think tonight we've done a brilliant job on all cases. Got 2 shows left. I do want to know, is there a possibility I can get Courtney for one of the final 2 shows? You can do one. I want Courtney to do the other one if we can. Would that be a possibility? I would actually prefer her do it next week. I plan on going back home to West Virginia next week. If you couldn't tell, that's where I'm from. I don't really make that known. You know, that's a pretty private thing with me now.
So you need to go home and enjoy your time with your family and friends in West Virginia. So yes, I would like to, Courtney, because you could come back on the 10th of August. August, the 10th of April, because that'll be the season finale. And then I still want Courtney for one more show, because I want to give a lot of her. More, there might be some more stuff that she remembered during some seasons that you guys didn't talk about on Sports Overtime. I just want to get some of her final thoughts as we end season 2, and then I'll do the same with you on the season finale on April 10th. So,
yeah, for sure. Cool. And there's games that actually she'd be a perfect one to have next week. We're working on a story about the shot heard around the Commonwealth, and it's going to air on Monday the 4th. So that would actually be a perfect time to have her the night before that airs, because it'll be done by then. But we interviewed Paul. Mm-hmm. That
was the Laurel County one, right?
Yeah, we interviewed Paul Andrews, and we were talking to other subjects. We interviewed one of the guys that called the shot from Rupp Arena, and we're really trying to Stanley Kubrick this up. So, we're also interviewing Chase Eaststep on Tuesday up in Lexington. So we got a lot more work down the pike, and we're looking to tell more stories. And this is actually going to be fun for us, because we haven't really gotten to be able to do too many packages, too many stories. It's been mostly just games. So, this is going to be fun for us, and I'm excited. So, yeah.
I mean, because you gotta have some stuff to have between now and when you start your football previews in July. So we'll be looking for all of these things. But then you enjoy your trip back to West Virginia, and I will see you on April the 10th for the season finale of the CJ Harris Show.
Will do. I'll be there.
All right, sir. You have a safe trip to West Virginia. Enjoy your time. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Tanner. Good to see you.
Good to see you, buddy.
All right. John Lowe, our main man from WYMT with us. Let me go ahead and get a few side notes out of here. I'll get Tanner's final thoughts, and we'll get out of here. Let's see. I've lost my track here. There we go. All right. I want to thank everybody that tried to call. Ryan tried to call me. Not Ryan. Thanks for trying to call. I know you tried. My phone. I'm gonna get my phone line worked on this coming season. I'm gonna have it where you'll be able to call me on the drop of a dime. But I want to thank everybody that left comments. I want to thank everybody that watched the show tonight. We had a lot of people watch it. I want to thank my guests. I want to thank Tracey Turner, softball coach at Lexington High School. I want to thank Dwayne Willis for filling in for Carla. Carla was out of town. Josh did send me a message and told me he was so sorry he could not be a part of the show, but he would come on next week and be a part of the show. So we'll do Josh next week, same time, same. But he'll be on next week, and I want to thank John for being part of it. I want to thank my co-host, Mr. Tanner Haseburg, and his girlfriend, as they did a phenomenal job. We got to learn about pickleball tonight, and here she's coming back for some more.
Come back for the end of the show. He's so happy.
Okay, hold on. But we'll thank Tanner. We'll give his final thoughts in just a second. I want to remind everybody I'll be back with you for one of the final 2 shows coming up on Sunday night, April 3rd. That's next Sunday. Episode number 30 of the CJ Harris Show. My co-host, I'm actually going to tear him away from a TV when WrestleMania is going on, and Nathan Little is going to be with me.
Oh, excellent. One of the greats.
Oh, and you got to tune in for that one, Tanner, because it's untelling what Nathan's going to say or what he's going to do.
He has a lot of stories for sure.
Yes, a lot. Also, Wallace Bates is going to be with me as one of my guests next week. Wallace, you know Wallace, former Breathitt County Hank basketball coach of the girls, Jackson City coach. Well, he just got a new gig. He is the new principal at Powell County High School. So we want to congratulate him. We're going to talk to him about that next week. We'll also have Josh on the show and some other guests as well. Like I said, Courtney will probably be with us next week. We're going to talk to her about her moments and some things over the season. I want to remind everybody, too, if you have not seen my Facebook page, The CJ Howard Show, go to the search bar, put it in your Facebook page, The CJ Howard Show. Go and like it. I want you to share it. Share it to other people that do not know about the show and get other fans to be joining me as well. I also want to remind everybody, go to my YouTube channel, The CJ Howard Show, the CJ Howard channel. Go subscribe for me, so we can do some more live stuff on there coming up maybe next year. My show's been on there all for the last 2 months. That's been great because I'm getting more videos up there. People are actually watching a few of them, so that's good. All right, Tanner, go ahead and let's get your final comments.
I'll keep it short and sweet. Don't want to drag this out. We had a
No,
good
I
show.
love to hear you. I love to hear you. Go ahead.
We had a good show. Let's get out of Dodge. It was an honor to be back on, and look forward to being back on again in the fall, CJ.
Can I tell people that you're going to be my first co-host of the new season in season 3?
Put me down. Book it. Write it. Etch it in stone. It is. It is a done deal.
Well, then we already know. I want to remind people I will be back. Got 2 more shows. Then I'll be back with you on August the 14th for season 3. And Tanner is going to be my first co-host of that season. I've already got that nailed down, got it in writing, so we'll do that. Tanner, don't leave me after we're done with the show. Just going to say a couple things to you after we're not live no more. I want to thank everybody again that watched the show, was part of it, and left comments. This is CJ Howard saying he's rounding third and heading for home. Good night, everybody. God bless you. We'll see you next week with episode number 30 of the CJ Howard Show. Good night, everybody.